What's up? It's the Cody Porter Sports Show, episode 10.2. Why 10.2? Well, because episode 10 was recorded last week before week 18 games, before the national championship game. I had a technical blunder I was unaware of until after the fact, and so I wasn't able to actually put that up. So that episode is recorded, and it is sitting on a SD card. It will never be seen. So this is 10.2. This is attempt number 2. This one will work, I promise you. And yeah, I mean, national championship game, Michigan's kind of dominated, and it sucked. I was rooting for Washington for sure. Wanted them to win. Underdog. Kind of always root for chaos, underdog, and I don't really particularly like Michigan for any reason. So I want Washington to win, but I mean that Michigan defense just really shut them down, and Michael Penix missed a handful of throws that he usually didn't miss. So that's just how that goes. That's the national championship game. We'll get into some of the coaching news and all that stuff a little bit after, but first I want to get into wild card round playoffs. I got two guests making picks alongside of me. You'll see them up here stopping in. Maybe they're live. You don't really know how they're making their picks, but they're making their picks. So first game on Saturday, Browns at Texans. Let's go to Jackson Walton to see what he thinks about Browns and Texans.
I think this game's going to be a lot closer than what people might think. C.J. Stroud's looking electric out there. He gave, a great rookie season, and that's why I'm taking the Browns. Joe Flacco hasn't lost in the wild card ever. He's 5-0, and I don't see them losing with that Browns defense.
What about our other guest picker?
I'm picking Texans. I think this weekend C.J. Stroud shows you why he deserves to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Even though I think Joe Flacco is the comeback player of the year, I just don't think he'll be able to get it done, especially with his two starting tackles on offense out for this game. I think Houston defense will be able to make that one play to give Stroud the ball. I think that's the best game of the weekend, too.
How about Sam?
Game one, we've got the Browns versus the Texans. I think Flacco has a good game. I think Stroud has his first playoff ever jitters. I think the Browns defense is too much for Stroud to overcome in his first ever playoffs. I like the Browns to beat the Texans.
As for me, Browns-Texans, I think this being at the Texans, I think it helps them a lot. I think it helps them significantly. I think that's why the spread is only 2.5 points, depending on where you get it. I think it's massive that it's a home game for the Texans. I think it will be loud. I think it will be packed. They've had some issues this season packing their stadium. I think it will be packed. I think it will be loud. I think you go back and look at other games at NRG Stadium for the Texans before, back when J.J. Watt was there. They have some electric environments, which I think will help keep the game close. The way to beat the Texans, they've had a great season. C.J. Stroud has played great. I keep getting a phone call for some reason. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. What Texans need to do, they need to run the ball. And the Browns have a great defense overall. They're a better pass defensive team than a rush defensive team at this point. The season started and they were like the greatest statistical rush defense of all time. They're a good rush defense, but I think they're better in the pass when their team is fully healthy. And here's the thing. Denzel Ward got injured in practice today, Thursday. I forgot to say the date. It's January 11th, 2024. Denzel Ward got injured today, and then Mike Ford and Juan Thornhill both questionable on Saturday. Those are massive injuries. C.J. Stroud excels much more against the zone than against man. So you got those guys being out, I think, is huge. If all three of them miss the game, I mean, that's a turning point. I think C.J. Stroud can kind of take over. But if those guys are healthy, or even 2 or 3 are healthy, Texans are going to have to run the ball. They're going to run the ball very successfully to beat the Browns. In this game, I got the Browns winning. I got Joe Flacco. Footsteps Flacco, I mean, hard to bet against that guy. Kind of want him to win the whole thing. Then you got Dolphins at Chiefs. I'll go first in this one. Dolphins-Chiefs in Kansas City. Wind chill of -15 to -20. And wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour. It's going to be the coldest game in NFL history, which is wild. For the Dolphins, Xavier Howard out. And then you got Waddle and Mostert both questionable. Hill, Achan, and Holland are all nursing, and Armstead are all nursing injuries. I mean, those are all big injuries, possibly for the Dolphins. But I mean, this is going to be a weather game. Weather games are unpredictable. You don't pass the ball. It's a run game. Especially even if it's cold. I mean, wind? No, it's going to be windy as heck. 30-mile-an-hour gusts is crazy. They're running the ball, and who am I going to take? Pacheco, CEH, or Achan, and maybe Hobble Mostert? I think the Dolphins win this game. Call me crazy. They struggle against good teams all season. They already lost the Chiefs this year. I think the Dolphins get it. I think Achan and Mostert, maybe if Mostert doesn't even play, I think Achan has a career day in the playoffs. And if Mostert does play, they're a dynamic duo. They're incredible. I think Tua will make the plays he needs to make. I think they'll run a lot of play action, a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of screens, get Tyreek the ball close to the line of scrimmage, and he can make something happen. You don't need to go for these deep balls in this weather. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. I think the run game is going to go in favor of the Dolphins in this one at the Chiefs. I like the Dolphins to win this one.
Dolphins versus the Chiefs. That game, I'm honestly thinking it's going to be a blowout. It could be in the Dolphins' favor, but I'm definitely going to take the Chiefs here, as the Dolphins' record against winning teams is very sus, and that Chiefs' defense is honestly looking pretty good. It could be better, but I take the Chiefs in that game.
Game number 2, we've got the Chiefs versus the Dolphins. I'm going to tell you right now, I like the Chiefs. The Dolphins have way too many injuries coming into this game. It's going to be played at a really cold temperature. I don't think the Dolphins are going to know what hit them in this one. It's going to be too cold. They have too many injuries on their team. I don't think it's going to really be much of a contest. I think the playoff Chiefs are going to come out to play.
The return of Tyreek Hill to Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs are able to get this done as well. History just is not on the Dolphins' side when they're playing in cold games. I think the key matchup here is the Chiefs' defense. They always step up the intensity in the postseason in recent years, and I expect them to do it here too. So I'm rocking with the Chiefs.
Game number 3, the Bills versus the Steelers. We all know the Steelers don't deserve to be here. They kind of fell into this position. They don't deserve to be in this game. I think the Bills absolutely wrecked them. I think no TJ on defense. I think the Bills offense is going to run all over the Steelers defense.
If the Steelers had TJ Watt, I might take the Steelers, but it doesn't look like he's playing this Sunday, so I have to go the Bills, even though I really don't trust Josh Allen.
Steelers versus Bills. I think even with TJ Watt, this wouldn't be a game. I don't think that the Steelers are going to be able to keep up with the Bills. And so that's just it. I also think the Bills are one of the best teams in the NFL, and I don't think their record shows it. But now it's the postseason. Those records don't matter. I think the Bills even cover this weekend.
I think this would be a blowout if it was normal weather, but this is could be another cold weather game. Bills have won 5 of their last 6. They're hot. They beat the Dolphins to get home field advantage, to get the division last week. I like the Dolphins to win this game, but I like Steelers plus 10. I think it lines out right now. I think Steelers plus 10 should be pretty good. I think it'll be not a very high-scoring game, weather game. I like the Bills in that one for sure.
Game number 4, the Cowboys and the Packers. Cowboys are hot. They've been hot all season. They're going to stay that way. Jordan Love and the Packers, their run's going to come to an end. I like the Cowboys over the Packers.
All right, we got Packers, Cowboys. I'm all over the Cowboys in this one. I do think the Cowboys are perennial chokers, but not in this one. The Packers' defense is just very bad. They had the luxury of playing the Chiefs. The Packers had the luxury of playing the Vikings and the Bears, who overall were not very good this season. I think the Packers, their offense is decent. I mean, their young weapons receiving are crazy. They are going to be very good for a very long time. I think Jordan Love is only going to get better, but I think the Cowboys are all over the Packers in this one. I got the Cowboys, no problem.
I think that this game might be closer than what a lot of people think. I think Jordan Love is going to have a good performance, and it might be enough to take out the Cowboys, but I think that the talent differential is just way too much for the Cowboys in favor, and I have the Cowboys winning that game.
Once again, I don't expect it to be a game. With Jordan Love playing his first playoff game against this Cowboys defense, I don't think it's. I think the Cowboys also cover. Like it's not going to be close. Next one, Rams versus Lions. I think this one is going to be a close game. You got weapons like Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs, all in the same game. And that's not even on the defensive side of the ball. But I think it's ultimately coming down to if the Lions will be able to control their emotions. They haven't had a home playoff game since '93. Detroit is going to be rocking. So if they can control their emotions, keep the stupid penalties down, I think the Lions are able to pull this off and give Detroit the win that they've been wanting to see since '93. Which, I don't know if they won in '93. So someone fact check me. But that crowd's just going to be rocking, and that atmosphere is going to be great.
The Rams and the Lions, Stafford versus the Lions. Must-see TV. That's all I can say. The Lions, they're a great squad. I think Stafford leads the Rams past the Lions. The Rams are going to advance.
I'm not sure if Sam Laporta is playing or not, but with just Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra, I don't think the Lions are going to be able to get it done. Plus, it would be a great story with Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit, the first time they win the division in forever, and Matt Stafford just crushed their dreams. It'd be a great story to tell.
Stafford back in Detroit for the first time since leaving Detroit. Has no Sam Laporta. Dan Campbell, great coach, great motivator. He's going to have the team ready. I'm sure he's going to be talking smack about Stafford in the locker room pregame. It's first playoff game in 20 whatever. First playoff game in a long time, I think 2012 or something. Stafford was there. Haven't won a game in 20, 30 years in the playoffs. They're going to be ready. The crowd, I think the crowd has the chance to turn this game. It's going to be a crazy, wild environment. Obviously, the Lions being back in their first playoff. But if it's just like a normal playoff crowd, I like the Rams. Kyron Williams, Stafford's played great ever since getting healthy, ever since their bye. He's played great. But Kyron Williams is crazy. Kyron Williams is so freaking good at running the football. He is incredible. But the crowd can be different. I think if the crowd is a normal playoff crowd, I think it's Rams easy. They have the chance to be like a college atmosphere crowd. They can be chanting and screaming and top of the lungs, standing, making noise. Game kickoff to 4-0 on the clock. If they are, you got the Dome Stadium. If you can disrupt the Rams in the huddle and at the line, you'll have a chance to win. I think the crowd is going to matter. Overall, though, I do think the Rams get the job done. I'll be rooting for the Lions. I hope the Lions win. I don't think they will, but I would love to see them win. I got the Rams.
Eagles Bucs. This is a questionable one. The Buccaneers have looked solid, but I don't trust Baker Mayfield against the Eagles secondary. Even though the Eagles secondary is sus, I think that Baker Mayfield's even more sus, so I'm going to take the Eagles in that game, even though the Eagles are making it more than that. And those are my picks for Wild Card Weekend. Go Niners.
The Bucs are a great team. Baker leading the Bucs, I love watching it. Huge Baker Mayfield fan. I think Jalen Hurts is better. The Eagles have struggled recently, but I like them against the Bucs. I think that the matchup is good. Playoff Jalen's coming out. I think he's going to lead their struggling team through the playoffs. They're at least advancing past the wild card round.
Eagles versus Bucs. I think this is the most interesting game, especially with the end of the Eagles season and losing 5 of the last 6 games. The defense is just letting up a ton of points. Their offensive studs are getting hurt. I don't know how Jalen Hurts is going to play with that finger. So with all of this, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals, and whoever holds the ball last, I think, is kicking a game-winning field goal. So if you're into gambling, I whipped up a little parlay for this weekend of Texas money line, Chiefs money line, Bills spread, Cowboys spread, and Lions money line and Bucs spread. If you pick all of those to cover, it's plus 3,000 odds. and I like those odds. I think they're great value and definitely worth something to put a couple of bucks on. So thanks again, Cody, and hope to talk to you guys soon.
You got Eagles at Bucs. This is a big. I started noticing this last year, and I made sure to keep this with me, and I think I'll keep this for the rest of my life. They are who they show us they are. Last season, Tampa, as a Bucs fan, Tom's last year in Tampa. 8-9, scrape by to get in the playoffs, get blown out in the playoffs. Tom Brady was not Tom Brady last year. He was who he showed us he was. He wasn't Tom Brady. He was who he showed us he was. There is no reason after about the fourth or fifth loss of the season to think that the Bucs team was going to do anything because they never changed it around. It never looked like they were going to change it around. You just had hope that they were because it was Tom Brady. And he showed us what he was last season. Chiefs, same thing. Everyone was picking the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl. Oh, they're so hot. They're this great team. The Chiefs dynasty is over now. Then Chiefs get in there. They do what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs in the playoffs, they show us who they are. They are who they show us they are. And people didn't think Patrick Mahomes was going to be himself in that Super Bowl, and he was. They are who they say us they are. This season, it's the exact same thing. Eagles started off 11-1, wins at Tampa, at LA, at KC, at home against Miami, Dallas, and Buffalo. Crazy resume to start the year. But they got too hot too early. I think it's the opposite of the Ravens and 49ers. I think they are peaking at just the right time. Eagles peaked way too long ago. This isn't last year where they can dominate all season long. They ran out of gas. 1-5 in their last 6. Losses against San Fran and Seattle and Dallas. Nothing to be ashamed at. Realistically need to get one of those, but you don't. But then Arizona and New York and Arizona at home. You lose to Arizona at home, one of the worst teams all season. You lose to them at home. Jalen Hurts hurts his finger. He's limited in practice. Has not thrown since Sunday. How is he going to be? A.J. Brown, ankle, did not practice today. That's Thursday, and that's a big difference. That is a Monday game. It's not a Sunday or Saturday game. It's a Monday game. So they have extra time to heal up. But no A.J. Brown, not healthy Jalen Hurts. I'll give you Baker Mayfield isn't 100%, but I think everything's trending in the Bucs way. The Bucs had a big stretch in the middle of the season. Now they've won 5 of their last 6. Eagles have lost 5 of their last 6. Week 3 when they played 25-11 final score, Eagles take care of business. In that game, Tampa had no Carlton Davis, no Kalijah Cansey. Jamel Dean played less than a half because of injury, and Yaya Diaby only played 25 snaps off the bench. Diaby and Cansey are incredible. They have shown up and shown out so far this season in their rookie year. Davis and Dean are a great duo as DBs. Them being fully healthy with less than 100% Jalen Hurts. I think you let that front 7 go to work against the run, and you make Jalen Hurts throw the ball. And if you beat you throwing the ball, oh well. You don't let Jalen Hurts beat you running it, and you don't let DeAndre Swift beat you running it. You make Jalen Hurts throw the ball less than 100% with less than 100% wide receiver help. I think as a Buccaneer, that's what you do, and I think the Bucs win this game. I think everything is trending for the Bucs to win this game. Defense is on fire. They're on fire. Eagles are ice cold. They're not healthy. It's Bucs all day, baby. I want to say thank you to my guests, Jackson Walton, Sam Chester, Alex Minzler, picking wild card round. We'll see who we have to pick the divisional round next week. Who knows? But that was the wild card round picks. I'll summarize my picks. I got the Browns at the Texans. I got the Browns winning. Then I got the Dolphins on the road also beating the Chiefs. I got the Bills at home against the Steelers. I got the Cowboys at home against the Packers. I got the Rams on the road at the Lions. And I got the Bucs at home against the Eagles. Now I want to just touch briefly on the coaching changes. I mean, it's been a crazy 24, 48 hours. Pete Carroll, out as head coach, but staying with the organization, maybe. Saban out of nowhere retires, and then the next morning, Belichick parts ways with the Patriots. It's madness. It's craziness. Artie Smith out as Falcons head coach. I thought he'd have another year. Does not. Vrabel out as head coach. Crazy move in Tennessee, but crazy things happen in the world of professional coaching because the expectations are so high. I think it's pretty obvious Gerard Mayo is going to be the next head coach in New England. I think a lot of people thought, it's going to be Vrabel, but Mayo has the backing, I think, of all the players, and then of Belichick also, which I think means a lot. I think Mayo is the next head coach in Baltimore. Then you got Belichick, who, if he wants to coach, he will be a head coach. If he wants to retire, he will. I think he wants to get the all-time wins record, and if he does, I think only the Chargers really make sense. The Falcons don't make sense because they don't have a quarterback. Titans, same thing. Titans are a big question mark. Panthers, maybe. I don't see it. Raiders, I doubt it. I think the Raiders are just going to keep Antonio Pierce. I think the Chargers makes all the sense in the world for Bill Belichick. And if he decides not to retire, or if he decides to retire, I think the Chargers also need to reach out to Jim Harbaugh. I think the Chargers are in a great spot because they have Justin Herbert. Their short list is Harbaugh and Belichick. It's a great list to have. I think they'll get one of the two. Vrabel, I think he'll get a head coaching job, and I think that Arthur Smith follows him wherever he goes. It would be crazy if Jarrell Mayo didn't get that head job in New England, but if he didn't, you could see Vrabel going there. Unless Vrabel was to go to Atlanta, which I don't think that makes much sense. Arthur Smith obviously wouldn't be retained there. Washington, my first thought was Eric Bieniemy, but I'm making sure I don't get any Alabama coaching news. Phone's vibrating. No, it's not. Where was I at? Oh, I was thinking Bieniemy, but if it's not Bieniemy, you can put together a pretty good cast up there in Washington, and you have Sam Howell, or you can kind of trade up, I think, and maybe get one of those top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this year's draft, and you could build a coaching staff. I think Vrabel and Smith together are going to be a great staff somewhere because I think Vrabel should be head coach. Smith, I don't think has proved enough. Head coaching just didn't win enough games in Atlanta. Vrabel has. I think Vrabel should be head coach. Then we go to Alabama. Nick Saban retires. Wow, what a shock. I think the first call was Dan Lanning. He announced today he turned it down. I think a call goes to Sark, but Quinn Ewers announced today that he is staying in Texas, which I think means Sark told him he's staying in Texas. Because I think if Sark says, hey, I'm going to Alabama, Ewers declares. But Ewers announced that he's staying. I think Sark's out. That leaves as like the clear, obvious frontrunners, Lane Kiffin. And I mean, I think it makes so much sense for Lane Kiffin to go. Just the grand scheme of everything, it makes so much sense. But the team he's putting together for next year is going to be crazy. I mean, he has the number 1 transfer portal class, and it is a darn good class, looking really good. Returning Jackson Dart. The only glaring omission in next year's Ole Miss team is going to be Quinshon Judkins. But I think next year's Ole Miss team is going to be so, so good, and it would just be so crazy for him to leave that, what could be on that team next year. But I think he's the obvious next choice. And then if you run out of that, then you think, okay, Bill O'Brien, probably not. Dabo would have made more sense 2 years ago. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. I think Dabo to Alabama makes a whole lot of sense. I think whoever comes in, if they fail, and Dabo builds Clemson back up to what they were. I think after that guy's gone, Dabo makes sense. But just right now, I don't think the fan base would accept the Dabo hiring. Kalen DeBoer, he's 25-3 at Washington. I just don't think it's a sexy hiring as much as Sark or Lane or Dan Lanning is. Ken DeBoer, much more quiet, under the radar. Has proven himself to be a winner, but only 3 years or 2 years at Washington. And then, obviously, Dan Lanning only 2 years at Oregon, but DC for Kirby Smart. I think Kirby probably should get a call. He won't leave Alabama, or he won't leave Georgia. Probably should get a call. And then, after that, if it gets interesting, Jimbo? Do you call Jimbo? I don't think the fan base is accepting that. Do you call Mike Norvell? I think Norvell would leave. I don't even know if he would leave. I think Norvell's on that list, and I think maybe a dark horse, Chris Peterson, maybe. Just an absolute dominant coach at Boise State, made them a group of 5 powerhouse, went to Washington, had some success there, then retires. Prime of his career, still young enough guy, under the radar, but they're going to go after all the big names. Maybe even Harbaugh, I doubt it. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense maybe for Harbaugh, but a lot of names are going to be up for Alabama. 1 for sure has already turned it down. 2 seemingly. 3 if you count Kirby Smart. But that's going to be crazy. I'm super excited to hear who it's going to be. It's going to change the landscape of college football, I'm sure. I mean, if you take Lane out of Ole Miss, that's an SEC team now opening, all of a sudden has a head coaching opening. It's going to be a really good job if you can get all those recruits and all those transfers to stay. That would be a very appealing job. If it's Kalen DeBoer, he leaves. Washington, you think, probably falls apart as they're heading into the Big Ten next year. It's going to be really interesting to see. How can't you love it? The craziness of sports. 3 legendary staples in football coaching gone within 2 days of each other. Gotta love it. That's it. That's the Cody Porter Sports Show, episode 10.2 on January 11th, 2024. See you next time.